Today, I want to talk to you guys about debunking other Albion video guides. There's a bunch of guides out there that will tell you how to do something and why it's so great, and I'm going to tell you why that they are a huge time sink, a huge silver sink. Most players won't have access to what they are teaching, and the hidden behind-the-scenes mechanics of what they're showing you and what they're not actually showing you. Let's get started. But before we start, some ground rules. I will not name the creator or the video, and do not assume that I am talking about your video if you are a creator watching my video, because everyone does that. Last time I did this, every single creator was like, "Oh my god, Soul Benji's dogging on my video, oh my god," and I was like, no, I wasn't. No one got the creators right in the guesses in the comments. And number 3, because of last time and all of the, the problems it caused, we're not going to be guessing which creators I'm talking about in the comments. I'm not going to allow it. The very first video we'll talk about is a tutorial on how to profit from crafting. No, I'm not going to tell you what they are crafting for profit, but I will explain the video's kind of flow and what they ended up making and how they ended up making it and why it's terrible for new players and people who care about their time. So here's what the video basically was. It was showing how to do the market research to look up prices. It had the spreadsheeting done on it. It had the crafting, and then it required transporting, because let me explain real quick how crafting works at endgame. You need a black zone hideout, a high-level black zone hideout, to get the most crafting return bonus percentage, so that you can even barely squeak out a profit when you do crafting, which 99.9% of players don't have access to that. So this is exclusively a guide for people to either look forward to joining a guild, which you should never do, or for people already in powerful guilds that own territories and high-level hideouts. But regardless of that, let's continue and why this is just not a good investment of your time. It took him 1 hour and 12 minutes to do the entire process, and he made 1.4 million silver in profit, which took over, it was around 23,000 focus spent. And so if we round it up, it's 700,000 silver per day, which is, it's not good when you factor in focus. As a matter of fact, let me do the math on that. All right, so if you were to do that every single day, you make 21 million silver a month, but premium is 21.442 million silver per month, so you actually lose money doing that, and that's why it kind of sucks. But regardless, let's continue. So the transport risk, the guy's gear, and the raw materials that he had to take from town back to the Black Zone hideout was 10 million silver, and he was transporting for a total of 12 minutes to get there to the Black Zone hideout to craft it, but he also has to spend another 12 minutes to transport it back to town to sell it. And so the total transport time is 24 minutes. 24 minutes of risking 10 million silver, solo, not guarded by a guild, not guarded by friends, or being escorted or anything. It was just, pure solo, right? And then the total time, like I said earlier, spreadsheeting and transporting and crafting and doing the research and then all that stuff was 1 hour, 12 minutes. So he made 1.4 million. And if you do the profit per hour, that is 1.116 million per hour, which does sound good, but the profit per 10,000 focus is only 608,000, and that's not very good. Here are just 2 minor examples, alright? Good profit per 10,000 focus is around 2.5 to 5 million, with only about 15 minutes of work. You could achieve this with a max level chef, sometimes with a max level potion crafter, and of course sometimes as a weapon crafter in 8.4, or even as a refiner. These are normal numbers for all of that. No risk, no going through black zones, no going through roads of Avalon, no going through transporting through, very dangerous territories. And if you just want to be lazy, and even though crop growing is not good anymore just for the cost of premium, you do other things, you can kind of break even, but just growing crops on your island for like 2 minutes of work to water crops with 0 risk, that's 500,000 silver per day for 2 minutes of work. So you're telling me that you're going to spend over an hour and 12 minutes to make an additional 100,000 silver? That's why crafting is very, very bad. And like I said, the majority of players will not have Black Zone hideouts. They will not have high-level crafting, and it's just a joke. Next up, we have videos that show soloing black zone static chest bosses for huge rewards, making it seem super easy. You can just use a little budget, nature staff set. You can go to the black zone statics, so completely empty, you guys. And then you can solo the bosses and open the chests and get millions of silver every single time. Now, a lot of these are cherry-picked footage, cherry-picked clips. Some of them are even from the test server, which, they got to get those clicks, right? They're in entire empty zones in the black zone with huge rewards, and they don't show the failures, as in when other players kill them or they fail to escape other players. Also, I forgot to put it on the screen, but they also happen to have hideouts nearby deep into the black zone. These are not the statics that are near the portal towns. No. These are like static zones that are like 20-minute, travel times from a portal zone. The truth of these videos is that this is actually a very high risk and difficult activity to do. It generally requires that you have high specialization in the items to be able to pull them off. Lots of players also do this. It's not just solo players. Entire groups will run skip sets and farm chests. And so if you're soloing a boss and a group rolls up with their skip set, with their invis sets, you're dead. You're screwed. You can't fight them off. You can't escape. The chests have been nerfed since the recent patch, and the rewards are far more worse than they are now. And most YouTubers that do this, they die and lose more than they're gaining. And I'll show you. Well, I can't really show you without tattling on on the people. But essentially, I'll explain how you can dig up the proof yourself. Now, there are two basic ways to do the research yourself, and that is, in the video, check the player's premium status. You can do this by looking at the top right, and underneath this premium status crown, there will be a number if they have premium, and, you can't see my cursor, I guess. Here it is, damn it, can I not have my cursor be a cog? So up here in the crown, under it will be the premium status. If you watch a lot of these videos, this number will jump around like crazy, which means sometimes these guys take multiple weeks to film these cherry-picked footages. Sometimes it takes them a month. It's insane. The second one is go to Murder Ledger and look up the player. You can see every time that they've killed someone and every time they've died. So what you're looking for is for the skip set that they show in the video. Usually it's a nature staff or a bloodletter, and you click on all the times that they died. And by clicking on it, it'll show you what was in their inventory when they died, and you can see just how much silver they're losing filming these videos. Now, I will say that this is a valid way to make silver if you're good at the game, if you're lucky, and so on and so forth. So out of all of the research I've done, and testing, and looking at about murder ledgers and video data, this is what I've come up with here. The most I've seen someone lose doing this is 13 million silver over the course of 20 hours. Which they obviously went to sleep at some point in the middle and continued farming. So I would probably say, they sleep 6 to 7, 8 hours, something like that. So that's maybe about 12 hours of gameplay. You're losing over 1 million per hour, essentially. But the most I've seen someone gain doing this is 14 million in 4 hours. That was before the patch, of course. Now, after the patch, I don't know what the numbers are because there's still, not enough people doing it, not enough people sharing videos of it. But it's an okay amount of silver. It's not bad if you can pull it off. Now, I have tracked players that do this method exclusively. That's all they're doing, and they are losing about 15 million silver over the course of 2 weeks. And some of them are even doing it with groups of players. So their groups are getting wiped out, and they're still losing silver, which means, yes, you can get insanely lucky doing this, but to me, it's just not worth the trouble because if you don't have a hideout near these static zones, going deep into the black zone is, it's going to take you a while to get there, like 20 minutes. And if you try to do the ones near the portal zones at all hours of the day, you're just going to die to people that are just constantly camping and scouting it there. Hell, there's those naked damn oxes parked out front of all of these static zones now, so you're just getting auto-scouted by people with GeForce Now. My final thoughts on the subject is also that the majority of people playing the game now do not have Premium active, and if you do not have Premium active, you will be receiving 50% less loot in these solo static group dungeon chest runs, which it may not sound like much, but that 50% is 50% chance to get a jackpot, And so if you're getting jackpots 50% less than you already are, which is very rare to begin with, it's almost non-existent that you'll get a jackpot within weeks or even a month of doing it just consistently. It's so bad without premium that it's just not worth doing at all. Next up, we have the best start for new player guides, but these are from creators that just do PvP content. So here's what they do. As soon as they can, they go super hard into the black zone as soon as their character is capable. Their fame per hour and their silver per hour are atrociously bad because they're just very slowly chipping away at black zone mobs, and they're using high sustain builds so that they don't die, and so that they can barely squeak out killing these mobs with barely a fraction of health remaining. Which also takes forever, so that's why the fame per hour sucks. They use a very high mobility and high sustain build so that they can try to kill other players and run away from fights in the black zone, which it's smart because they're in the black zone. You know, they need to be able to escape, and they need to be able to heal if they're fighting like a 1v1, but they cherry pick most of the fights in their footage where they're actually just killing new players that have very little fame and they don't know what they're doing and they don't know how their build works, that are replicating these videos. So essentially they're preying on their own audience, which is kind of funny to me, but also they always have these deaths, you know, in their playthroughs. Like they make a brand new character, 0 to hero, whatever, and they always have deaths when you check their murder ledger that would bankrupt a new player because they take all their money and they buy like a dual swords and a mercenary jacket and stuff like that, and then they have a whole bunch of deaths, and a new player, that's going to take all of their silver and leave them with nothing. But somehow these guys, they just have, you know, they just log into their main account, give their alt character a little bit of extra funds, and then, you know, they rebuy their set, and then they don't show it in the video. Hell, I've even had some of them that just constantly die so much that what they do is they'll buy like a 6.1 or a 6.3 dual swords on their character, and then they'll go kill some people with it, and then they'll like really quickly swap to another scene where they're fighting a guy and running away, and they open their inventory and they're back on their 4.1 dual swords. It's very deceptive. Well, that's all I've got for now. I'm Soul Benji. Thanks for watching. As always, be a bro and stay swole. If you want advanced guides too good for the public, that means guides that would destroy the economy, guides that if too many people took advantage of, it would just absolutely like be nerfed to the ground. Right down here, there's a join button. It's $5 a month. Click that join button, get access to those private, more personal videos. And with that said, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next video. And on the right side of your screen is a video that you should absolutely click. If you don't click it, your entire YouTube feed will be filled with those PvPers telling you how to make silver, which you're gonna get killed a lot doing that. But hey, you know, that's just my opinion, a gamer opinion. I don't know how to close out the video, so I'll see you later. Mwah.